absolutely getting pummeled on Twitter. So he had said this last night that, to recap, I was yelled at for 3 hours. This is the Briahna Joy Gray debate on Force the Vote. For thinking that the leader of Force the Vote, Jimmy Dore, saying AOC is the reason we don't have M4A, was very unhopeful. And in that moment, he was praising an unarmed right-wing militiaman who wants to destroy government, which does M4A, hashtag pod fraud. Now, a lot of people were sitting there saying that Sam Seder was said that he was yelled at for 3 hours. She did get, she did yell at him a few moments, not 3 hours straight, and then he changed it to, I got admonished throughout the 3 hours. I was admonished for 3 hours, not yelled at. Because you had Marianne Williamson that was like, Sam, you weren't yelled at. A lot of people said that he wasn't yelled at, and then he was just getting slammed on Twitter. He's got some, Sam's kind of brave to, basically jump into this kind of toxic, anyways, it says, let's see, just go ahead and say uppity, you want to. So you have at JB Graz that's suggesting that Sam Seder is being racist, right, to a black woman. Oh, you said she was yelling at you. You said she was admonishing you. Why don't you just say you hate her? Which is, I don't know if that's saying something about JB Graz or Sam Seder. Logical leftists activate the race card when you know the argument has been lost. Lefties have come to be better than this. Come on, guy. The race card? Well, to put it succinctly, I was yelled at the whole time. Racist! This promo image tells you he went on the show. He respects Briahna Joy Gray to go on the show, to get yelled at, to talk about his ideas. I hope that somebody besides me says, hey, Sam, you was an asshole and forced to vote, but you were a good sport to go on the shows. Jink needs to go on somebody's shows and explain to him. Yeah, in an echo chamber, he'll sit there and tell us what the fuck he thinks, but actually go up against a person that's in favor of forced to vote. Pick somebody and debate them, because this was a great conversation, a great exchange. You saw the limits of both of their knowledge and both of the, so it was, and you saw what they all agreed on. At LOLLIBZ1, it tells you that you have chosen not to understand Jimmy's MO and paint him as nefarious instead of disagreeing with him tactically. Pat the burner. Wow, that's not at all what happened. Yelled at is a very disrespectful way to characterize what was a good discussion. At Socialist MMA, who won the debate between Briahna and Sam? 64% said Briahna, 36% said Sam, and that was out of 11,000 votes, so that's a poll. That's got some legitimacy. We know who you are, Sam. Black woman has educated debate, Sam. Angry black woman, oh no, I scared. Bottom feeder, Cedar. To be fair, there is yelling on both sides, and you both have decent points. I'm not going to be mad at you for not supporting forced to vote, but you shouldn't act like you were getting yelled at. She was just trying to make her point. You did your fair share of yelling at her, too. If you've seen the interview, you know that what you're saying is incorrect, but that means you'd have to sit down and watch it. The script about all of them being one thing is out of date. Nobody sent you the new script. This is the kind of whiny tweet I'd expect from someone like Ben Shapiro or Steven Crowder after losing the debate. Sad stuff. Sam, Bernie's worst mistake was hiring her as her press person. So here's I don't know, somebody that don't like Briahna. I don't know who pushed that Chowick, but they should be ashamed to put Bernie in that position, or Bernie should have known better. She's a big part of why he lost, as much as I love him straight up. Briahna Joy Gray Bernie Sanders did not lose because of Briahna Joy Gray. Bernie Sanders won the first 3 primaries, and then Joe Biden won the 4th one, but we didn't have a media that declared Bernie the winner the first time, the second time, and the third time, which traditionally, historically, means you become the goddamn nominee. So where the fuck was the media on that? Where was Sam Seder and TYT and MSNBC? Oh, that's right. They were pushing for their fucking guy a long time ago. Jimmy Dore is trending right now because he interviewed a Boogaloo boy. And then I saw that Sam Seder was trending right next to his name. At Cuz Cats, whoa, what a dishonest and petty recap at Joseph Jewel 13. This isn't about at Jimmy Dore, this is about what he exposed. You and the TYT will not hold the at Justice Dems accountable while taking corporate money. He tries to build coalition for positive outcomes, and you smear him. Who's dividing the left now? At Dent Mental Flaw. Sam is right about forced to vote and all the potential negative consequences outweighing any positive good. Like I've been saying, Forced to vote amounts to a lot of wishful thinking predicated on assumption after assumption. Sam is right, the squad is right, and people like Jimmy are wrong. So Sam's got some defenders. At Beeman J, the thing that I am really scratching my head about is, if you really feel this way, then why at the end of the 3 hours did you say you felt the discussion was valuable and constructive? Good point. At Triclops_013. Sam, please, you talked over Bree like 70% of the debate. Bree was nice, gave him plenty of space. She was passionate, which is how debates are supposed to go. But I think that Sam was looking more for a conversation. You constantly interrupted and tried to talk over her rebuttals. If anything, Bree was being too nice. But go ahead and lie to your followers. At Sam Seder couldn't stop talking about Jimmy Dore long enough to actually respond at length to the strategy as a whole. Just because you don't like who's driving the car doesn't mean that the car is poorly designed or won't get us from point A to point B. At Marvelous MV, I really thought you and Bree had a really nice debate about forced to vote and came to a good conclusion about that forced to vote works. You didn't like the ask or leader of it. I personally would have thought you would have been a great leader for it and take that wheel from Jimmy and ask to get rid of Pago. At an hour past pay, this is straight up unnecessary. You two are being cordial for the most part, other than the 2 viral clips circulating. You both were talking about each other's works and shows. It's a regular-ass discussion, but you want to feed into the drama. You're better than this, Sam. At Daniel D. 86829949, you must have watched a different interview. He did not praise anyone who was armed. The individual he interviewed expressed disdain for both parties and expressed policy positions, which most programs can relate to. At Christina Wins, to recap, you thought you were having a debate on Jimmy Dore's action when the real topic was how to advance Medicare for all. At Andalus, Briahna kept falsely and disingenuously making it about Jimmy's personality, essentially a straw man. It isn't about Jimmy's personality. It's the way he uses to divide the left in the most toxic manner. After, at Amy Buchanan, Jimmy Dore spreading Boogaloo, Tulsi Gabbard spreading Q. These people should not be followed. Fantastic comment there. Not really. At Principal Prague 1. Sam, I think it's unfair. Got a little rowdy. But you were listened to and allowed to share your opinions. Even though I support forced to vote, I was able to better understand where you were coming from, so I thought it was a productive conversation. Unlike this tweet at Real CEO of Antifa, dude, we can all see the debate for ourselves. Bree was way too civil with you. Too civil. At Fresh Avocado, dude, I'm so fucking sick of hearing about how much Jimmy... So, okay, again, even though everybody's saying a bunch of shit, that they're making good points about Sam Seder. Sam Seder seems like he's more of a believer of progressive thought, not an advocate of progressive thought, and that's awful. That's terrible. That's not what I want out of my media figures. I want you to have an opinion, and I want your opinion to be right, and I want you to push this nation in the direction that we need to go, not just go along to get along. We need to put the ruckus and put the pressure on these goddamn people. In spite of all that, Sam Seder, you can make your comments on the videos, you can make your comments on Twitter. He's not deleting his posts. He's taking all this fucking shit, and he's, instead of deleting people, he's going to write more stuff. David Pakman, David Pakman's such a fucking cunt. Do not listen to David Pakman. Don't pay a penny to David Pakman. David Pakman is a low-life piece of shit. I had asked him if he wanted concrete changes, and then he muted me. I don't, troll these people. I don't, these people on Twitter, they're not the ones that actually have any power whatsoever. So, I followed him on Twitter. I still watch his videos. He was against forced to vote, but I was still, thinking that maybe he would say something interesting. David Pakman is a fucking dickhead. He sits there and just, packages his stuff and asks for money and shit. He's just a commentator. He's just a news aggregator. And, we might need those things. I don't need those things. But they're not pushing for progressive change that America needs. They're going to let America basically burn and crash and burn without, putting any pressure on their representatives whatsoever, because that's mean. That's not nice. So, yeah, David Pakman goes, whoa, muted. David Pakman is full of himself, and fuck David Pakman. If he points out a fucking news story that you liked and it was interesting and he told you about the news, okay. He's a news aggregator, and he commented on some piece of information, but is he going to, try to change the world with what he's doing? I don't think so. I don't think that's what he's doing at all. So, yeah, go after David Pakman. You know, David Pakman's a fucking censor and cunt, and here you got Sam Seder taking all this flack, and so Sam Seder believes in freedom of speech. Maybe there's something we can coalesce around, because force the vote didn't achieve what we wanted. If the whole goal was just to push everybody into the People's Party and to burn the Democratic Party down, you should have done it several times. You did it once, and that was your agenda the entire time, just to fuck the Democrats over. Should have done it several times, showed that AOC not once, not twice, but 3 times denied the American people Medicare for all when the American people were calling for it. We should have pressured Chuck Schumer. We should have pressured Biden at his inauguration. We can still pressure people now. I'm putting pressure on my own representative. I want Medicare for all, Lauren Boebert. Hey, Lauren Boebert, I want Medicare for all! That's where it begins, right? Power concedes nothing without a demand, so we tell the reps what we want, and then, you know, I don't think Lauren Boebert will get us what we want, but there's some things that me and Boebert agree on. We want to end the wars, end the Patriot Act. There's some things there, so perhaps Boebert will see, you know, my list of 25 demands and like what she sees. She just got in there. She's getting all this media attention. Is she going to be the same person in her same little bubble, or is she going to evolve and change and be a representative for everybody in, you know, the district, everybody here in the 3rd Congressional District of Colorado? So Sam Seder is better than David Pakman when it comes to freedom of speech. David Pakman's a cunt when it comes to Twitter, and so is that David Sirotto. They're cunts. Ask David Pakman why he muted me or whatever. And then I said it was a sincere question, but he had muted me, right? Well, okay. Just like Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, you know, deleting people's accounts. I don't want to hear that. That's not an idea I want to hear about. And it was just one time. So if I was like, you know, 20 times to Pakman, but Pakman and, you know, David Sirotto are total cunts. Ask David Sirotto why, you know, he deleted me. Ask David Pakman why he muted me. Motherfucker doesn't know shit from shit. He has no idea who I am. Doesn't give a shit. He's full of his own. They just sit in their own offices and sniff their own farts. That's all they do. Just smell just refuel themselves on their own farts. A bunch of smug bastards. Anyways, yeah, forced to vote. Lauren Boebert, vote for Medicare for all. Asshole. That's not going to work. I guess we need to evolve and change force the vote into something better and more positive. If Briahna's not going to take it, if Jackson Hinkle ain't going to take it, Ryan Grimm and Thumb, we need to know better the rules and procedures of the Senate and the House, so that we're not so dependent on these experts that, you know, turn around and talk shit about us after, you know, they told us that we had the right idea. Well, okay, Ryan Grimm, we got the right idea, but now you're okay. Anyways, peace.